Hey YouTubers, it's Back Focus 11. We're at the world headquarters of International Drone Day in Las Vegas.
How did the Roswell Flight Test Crew start? Well, that's an interesting question, and there is a story about it. Actually, and the story is largely owed to you. We were out just flying at a city park, minding our own business. This is back before we were smart enough to have a pilot and a spotter, so we were both flying at the same time. And my battery started to run down. And that's when Brian, through his goggles, saw something we weren't expecting.
Well, basically, we were at a public park, of course, and people were swarming us, just slowly, gradually closing in. I was like, uh-oh. But actually, everyone was really interested. What are you doing? Wow, that is so neat. I've never seen it before, because it was kind of before the drone word came about. And, you know, people didn't know what we were doing. So it was very cool to watch that. From my goggles, people just swarming up on us.
And so what happened was, so we spent like 45 minutes answering questions for these folks. And after that was done, Brian turns to me and says, you know, we should put up a website, and then we get business cards made, and when they have questions, we can just give them the business card. And I'm a marketing guy, a communications guy, a branding guy, so I sort of came over all shivery and said, yes, and we need to have a cool name. And because our aircraft, which were an uncommon sight at that point, looked like flying saucers, they're round and circular, and they crashed a lot, us being new to it, we became named after the most famous UFO crash in history. And so that's how the Roswell Flight Test Crew got going.
What are in these things that you wear?
The vests, all right.
Let's see, it depends on the day, I suppose. Today, let's see, water. Actually, he's got all the cool stuff in his. I'm mostly empty for flying.
All right, well, yeah, no, I carry stuff in the vest that I need from day to day, so.
For you.
Oh, thank you. So, I forget you can actually see it. So on this hand, I've got a laser rangefinder, which is very useful for determining how far you are from something. Because it's something to speculate, hey, is that thing in range? How far away is that? You know, you don't know. So carry the tool so you know how far away you actually are. Up here, I've got another absolutely indispensable thing I think every pilot should have on them. And that's a voltage checker for your batteries. Because a charged battery looks exactly the same as an empty battery. And you don't want to find out halfway across the lake it's an empty battery on your bird. And then over here I keep a pair of binoculars, just, you know, keep an eye on things at long range. And over here I have an anemometer, a wind speed gauge, because it's one thing to say, yeah, it was really blowing that day. It's another thing to say it's 27.2 knots. So. And then, you know, business cards, a few other odds and ends, but that's the basics of it.
That crash pouch.
Oh yeah, the crash pouch. That's one we try not to use very often. This little bag right here unfolds it to about like 10 times its size. So after a bad crack up, you've got some place to put the little bits and pieces. We try not to use it.
State Senator from Santa Barbara, Hannah Beth Jackson, just proposed a bill that's going through the committees right now in the Senate, making any UAV flying over private property the same as criminal trespass if someone just walked into somebody's backyard.
Wow.
What do you think about legislators looking at these drones as a threat to privacy just because of the sheer ignorance? They don't really understand what we're doing.
Well, we addressed this question, a very similar question actually, in the Oregon legislature last year, and the point which we made over and over again was this. It's the crime that matters, not the technology which you use to accomplish the crime. So if I'm going to invade your personal privacy, say, sure I could do that with a drone, but I could also do it with a camera with a long lens, or I could do it with a camera on a stick. There's so many different ways I might violate your personal privacy. So make the law penalize the behavior, not the technology used to implement the behavior. And the other thing well, frankly, I probably shouldn't complain too much because we are based in Oregon and our drone economy is booming up there. The states, the countries that outlaw this stuff and make it difficult, all they're doing is cutting themselves out of the industry of the 21st century. So California, from up here in Oregon, if you want to completely ban drones, that's okay with us. We could really use the billions of dollars that are going to flow our way. But sadly, I like California a lot. I went to school down there, so let me tell you, steer away from the anti-drone legislation. All you're doing is hurting yourself. We can't be letting people invade other people's privacy. We can't be having people trespassing. But make the laws address the behavior, not the technology used to accomplish the behavior.
I'm supposed to be doing a demonstration for the Swarm Network, which is our search with an aerial RC multirotor worldwide network of volunteer drone pilots. Now, the WASP, right down here, that's the WASP. And the WASP is our wide area search platform. It's the prototype drone that we use for search and rescue. Well, it took a hard crash last week. And so we put it back together, slammed it together as of yesterday, and hopefully it's going to fly today. But we just took it on its first maiden flight, and it auto-landed itself. I don't know why. So we're backtracking a little bit, trying to figure out the problem. We're gonna fly by the seat of our pants, as they say.
All right, folks, that's it from the dry lake beds flying portion. Let's head over to the hotel and check the convention part.
Now today we're at International Drone Day 2015 in Las Vegas at the Railroad Hotel Pass Casino. How are you, Sarah?
I'm very good, thank you.
The new thing that's really catching a buzz is called FPV racing. Some might have seen the racetrack out today, but basically it's how fast can we go, how low can we go, and how many times can we get around the track. And this becoming more of a sport, kind of like picture NASCAR racing with drones. FAA hasn't stepped in on us personally yet with short-range FPV. It's more of where the FAA is talking about, you know, do you have a spotter? Do you have, you know, things like that. So, you know, when we have 5, 10, 15, 20 people flying, you know, we still have that many spotters back behind. We can only fly 5 people at a time due to frequencies.
Also, the founder and director of the Swarm Network. Swarm was started in 2013. This week, we went over 3,000 pilots in 54 countries around the world. So, thank you. So at any given time now, we are involved in a search somewhere. Right now we're involved in a search in Borneo for a family that was overturned in a boat, and mom and one of the children, they found 2 deceased children, but 2 are missing still. So we're trying to help them bring closure to that. They need to know what happened. And it's not a matter of whether or not they're alive or dead or whatever. They just need to know what happened. They have to know where this person is.
This is something that the general aviation community has been watching, all kinds of different rumors. You've heard how pilots hate drones. Well, I'm here to tell you that the National Flight School Association, FASANA, Flight School Association in North America, not only embraces them, we actually had a representative at our last conference in San Diego at the end of January, and plan on continuing our relationship with you people as much as possible.